close to the tape so that we're not peeling off paper with the tape. Sometimes it helps just to moisten the tape a little bit, but really the best protection for the paper ripping is to pre-stick that tape to your desk. I'm just adding a teeny bit of water to these, and you don't want to rip this tape off too fast, but I'll get the next two trees taken off, and then we'll kind of go through the same procedure that we did last time, only we're going to use a little bit brighter colors, because remember, as we move into our foreground, as things get closer to us, do colors get lighter or darker? As they get closer to us, they get darker, yes. So these ones might be a little bit darker, but I do not want to go crazy with this. I'm going to do a wet and wet, which means I'm painting the white part of my tree only, because as long as the water is only, and I'm just painting this trunk for now, as long as the water stays in the trunk, it's not going to go out. So wet paper, and then I'm going to get a little bit of this burnt umber and reactivate it on my palette and go in, and that spreads quite a bit. I might also make a shadow on the side of my tree that I've decided is the non-sunny side, and you can see how light that color is, how light that shadow is, but it kind of defines the edge of the tree there just a little bit. I'll zoom in so you can see that a little bit more, the bleeding here. And then I can go ahead and dry off my brush and get a little bit thicker paint and kind of start to make those lines on my birch. I want them to spread a little bit. If I want them to spread more, I can add them. They don't, or add a little bit of water to them. Notice they don't go all across the way across the tree like stripes. They just kind of come out a little bit, and I can do that on some of the branches too. I'll get more detailed as I add darker colors. If you want a little bit lighter color, you can mix that yellow ochre with your brown. But remember, and I've said this before, keep your watercolors light. It's better to have too light and go back and add dark later than it is to have the opposite. So while I'm kind of waiting for this one to dry so I can maybe add some black, I'm gonna just go ahead and paint some wet paint on to my other white tree. So this is very similar to last time, just we might want to think about adding a little bit more detail, a little bit darker colors, and then once we have all the brown in, we could add just a little bit of black, just a teeny bit, kind of in the center of some of those darker areas on this tree. And I'm not exactly happy with this tree right now, but that's okay. I'll figure out what I don't like about it, and I've still got more trees to do later. So after I kind of get some light detail painting done on these trees, I might also think about the bottoms of the trees. And usually under the trees, it's a little bit darker. And so I might go ahead and just add a little bit of grass or something around the edge of the tree. I found I like to add a little bit of violet in to the bottom here, but I'm just going to kind of start thinking about if I want shadows falling from those trees. I could put in a very light hint of a shadow from some of these trees that I've already done. And then after I kind of get some of this detail done, and I think last time I did some of these little branches back here, you can see on my small tree. So you can really, really fine. Remember our detail brush sampler in our book, how thin I can get my brush to get some of those little branches that we see on birch trees that we definitely couldn't get in with masking tape. So again, refer to your pictures of birch trees to get in some of those smaller branches in the background. After we kind of get happier with how our trees are looking, again, I might go, as my paint dries, I can just go in and add some darker paint. And then I can go ahead and do the second coat of splatter paint. And I want to pick different colors than my first ones, which were orange and red. So this time I might pick a green. Remember, when we splatter, we want to use our big brush. We want to either put down newspaper or plan to clean. So I'm going to mix my green with just a teeny bit of red. And I want a pretty nice wet consistency. And then I want to primarily go over those trees that I just peeled on the top part. Remember, if there's not branches that we just peeled, we don't really need to add these leaves. So keep in mind where you're splattering and make sure it's around the trees that you just peeled. And then after that, I'm going to let this dry for a little bit. While I let the top part dry, I can come into the bottom and only with my detail brush just continue doing some details and shadows along the bottoms of the trees. So this is where you can really take your time and really have some fun with smaller branches, with a little bit of grass. Just make sure everything you do kind of gets blended out and in to what you're doing. So I can make a list for you guys. I will make a list for you guys so you know what the steps are for today. And then just get that out. And if we still have time, I'll go ahead and do the last couple steps for you. So we want to first peel how many trees? Peel 2 more trees. And then we're gonna do light lines and shadows. And then we're gonna do our second coat of splatter over the branches. We're gonna add detail branches to the back 4 trees. And then add detail painting to the bottom. So this is day 4, and I'll go ahead and take a picture of this so that this writing is in the right